what science says, and what religion says. At the dawn of the modern age, there were startling revelations which threatened the status of religion. A Polish astronomer Copernicus came out with a theory that the sun is stationary at the center of the universe, with the Earth and other planets revolving around it, while an Italian astronomer Galileo supported the Copernican theory that came out with his own discoveries on the laws of gravity. This was denounced by the Roman Catholic Church and started a dispute between theology and scientific revelations, and the view that religion is incompatible with science. Another point of difference concerns evolution and creation. In fact, people of many different faiths and levels of scientific expertise see no contradiction at all between science and religion. Many simply acknowledge that the two institutions deals with different realms of human experience. Science investigates the natural world, while religion deals with the spiritual and supernatural. Hence, the two can be complementary. Many religious organizations have issued statements declaring that there need not be any conflict between religious faith and scientific perspective on evolution. Hence, science and religion represent two different levels of understanding that answer different kinds of questions. According to Mariones, scientific findings and religious beliefs are normally quite separate. Science deals with the study of nature, its forces, processes, and development. It is based on the analysis of evidence. It assumes as a working hypothesis that processes and events happen due to natural causes, not through divine intervention. It has rarely intrudes in matters of morality, the existence of and nature of deity, spirituality, and others, where religion deals with the matters of faith. Its main basis is often revelation from a deity, either orally transmitted from generation to generation, recorded in a text sacred, or revealed to individuals through prayer. Most faith groups teach of the existence of one or more deities who created the universe and continue to play a major role in managing it, sometimes bypassing the laws of nature to create miracles. A main function of religion is to teach moral principles, mankind's relationship to gods and goddesses, behavior towards other humans, spiritual matters, and others. An area of difference between science and religion lies in the point of view. Some of the areas where science and religion overlap and make conflicting claims are cosmology, geology, astronomy, and others, linguistics, medicine, religious practices, and human sexuality. Generally speaking, in these areas of overlap, when religious claims are evaluated using scientific methods, they are found to be false. While scientific claims are evaluated using the methods of faith, they are found to be false. The result is in stagnation. Neither side can easily convince the other of their truth. Sometimes, the conflict continues over centuries before being resolved. But the two can be said complementary or similar, based upon a never-ending search for a greater knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the universe. Science emphasizes the idea that researchers and scholars must identify, understand, and unify all forms of knowledge and wisdom throughout the universe in order to become closer to nature, also known as reality. This is done using textbooks, symbolism, hypotheses, and ideas. While most religions strongly emphasize the idea that seekers and scholars must obtain wisdom, understanding, and the knowledge of self, the earth, and also of the universe in order to become closer to and more familiar with spirits, also known as consciousness, the universal creator of such. This is done using holy texts, nature symbology, traditions, and prophecy. With all of this in mind, science and religion appear to operate as two independent schools of thought, with each being in possession of a library of useful information for humanity sort through and processes. At present, most scientists and religious leaders are in agreement that while science and religion represent distinctive truths, their teachings may be complementary. It is then possible for a person to believe in God and yet be a good scientist. Religious patterns in the Philippines. In the Philippines, the presence of diverse religious organizations represent religious pluralism. The table shows the various organizations in 1970 and 1990. In 1970, no born-again Christians were listed as yet, and a number of denominations and sects were subsumed under the category of Protestants. The statistics show that the Philippines is still predominantly Catholic. However, the percentage of the Catholics in the total population has declined. There is a slight increase in the number of adherents in the Islam, the second biggest religion, but even so they account for only 4.57% of the population. The early Filipinos believed in spirits called anitos, who formed a hierarchy of deities in a type of animistic religion. These spirits were believed to reside in plants, trees, rivers, or rocks. Rituals where prayers and food were performed to appease the spirits. Beliefs in spirits continue to permeate the lives of some rural Filipinos who may be still wearing amulets or agimats as protection against danger and other evils. In the 14th century, Arab traders introduced Islam to the Philippines. The religion gained a stronghold in Mindanao. Islam revolves around the teachings of the Quran, which are revelations of God to the Prophet Muhammad. Islam is an Arabic word which means peace and submission to the will of God and obedience to His laws. Like other religions, Islam prescribes prayers, charity work, pilgrimage to a holy place called Mecca, and a piece of fasting, solemn worship, and a meditation called Ramadan. The Quran does not condone terrorist acts. The God of the Quran is consistently portrayed as a God of mercy and compassion as well as a just judge. Every verse of the Quran begins with a reference to God's mercy and compassion. Throughout the Quran, in many contexts, Muslims are reminded to be merciful and just. Christianity was introduced to the Philippines when Magellan landed in the country in 1521. More religious missions followed to spread the gospel and preach Christian values. Christianity brought with it not only its beliefs and practices, and also built churches, also the culture and civilization of Spain. When the Spain ceded the Philippines to the USA as an aftermath of the Spanish-American War in 1899, many American chaplains, mostly from the Navy, stayed to preach their faith Protestantism. The early missionaries were mostly from the Methodists, Congregationalists, Baptists, Episcopalians, and Disciples of Christ. The Christian Missionary Alliance and the Seventh-day of Adventists also sent missionaries. Their supposed objective was to serve as agents of civilization. Since then, Protestant groups in the Philippines grew in number and covered a variety of beliefs and structures. The fastest growing group in the Pentecostals who stressed emotional expression, which they view as a visitation of the Holy Spirit. They are known for speaking in tongues and faith healings. The Protestants have contributed their share of leaders in the various sectors of society, including the country's first Protestant President Fidel V. Ramos. The relationship between Catholics and other Christian churches has improved over the years and toleration of each other's faith is observed. In the early stage of the American regime, Gregorio Aglipay founded the Philippine Independent Church, which broke away from the Roman Catholic Church. Most adherents are rare from the northern Luzon. Another religious group is the Iglesia ni Cristo, founded by Felix Manalo in 1914. Starting as a sect, it steadily gained followers after World War II. In the beginning, most adherents came from the lower class who found in the religion moral reassurance and a sense of belonging. Through the years, it developed a bureaucratic formal organization and is considered a force to reckon with during election as its members are required to vote as a bloc. There have also been a number of Messianic movements, which are in the nature of socio-religious protest. As Osterville pointed out, these movements are strongly syncretic, blending ancient folk beliefs with practices of the Roman Catholic religion. The emphasis is on the loyalty and mutual support, the improvement of society, and the preparation for the coming of the Messiah. The example of these are the Lapiang Malaya and the Good Wisdom of All Nations. Another group which is now widespread is the born-again group, whose followers call themselves simply as Christian. To them, Bible is the only source of the faith. They are not bound by tradition and other doctrines. They consider Christianity as a way of life and a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. A religious trend is called ecumenicalism, a sort of free approachment aimed at a better understanding between churches on their position on beliefs and a breaking down of prejudices to undertake cooperation in various activities. It also implies that adherents of different faiths should approach each other as a friends, rather than as opponents in the pursuit of truth. The integration is also a way to unite the way we expect God to see us. When anyone became involved in any religion, although from different ways of living, by integration it can unite all with Christ because there is one lesson to be welcomed, even the doctrines and teachings. Thus, all act as a body, although with different parts and functions in relation to each component. Its goal can do the entire body because all of us are willing to help. For with God, nothing will be impossible. A relationship with God is the most important relationship you can have.